Good morning, Rabotai. Welcome back to Breakfast in the Class. Breakfast in the Class today is dedicated in honor of, first of all, Mazal Tov and Mabruk to the entire Ibrahimov family on the engagement of Akiva Ibrahimov to Esther Falik, and to my dear friend Raymond, Rabbi Raymond and Rebbetzin Falik. Congratulations. What a beautiful, beautiful simcha. In Veha Gefen, in Veha Gefen. Literally the fruits of the vine and the fruits of the vine. Really incredible to be able to see two such wonderful families come together, Be'ezrat Hashem, and build Beit Ne'eman B'Yisrael in such a gorgeous and magnificent way. Okay, Breakfast in the Class also sponsored by Jonathan Cohen. JC in the house. Dedicated in loving memory of Jonathan's father, Zalman Cohen. Zalman Cohen, Le'ilu Nishmat Zalman Ben Chana Rivka, Alav Hashem for his third Askara. We know that your father in Shamayim is very, very proud of you for everything that you've done and all the growth that you are exhibiting, and as well for your fact that you are Chatan Torah in our minyan on Simchat Torah. Be'ezrat Hashem. Soon we'll also hear that you're a Chatan and you'll be Chatan Torah. Double Chatan, double is nice. Okay, Be'ezrat Hashem. Sha'atova Mutzlacha. He's a huge catch. All the fantastic people listening on the shiur, if you want to, you could contact me. I'm his agent.
He was married to the Torah, so he may be married as well.
Amen. And listen, a guy who was married to the Torah knows how to treat a wife in the most beautiful way. So, because the Torah actually says a person should honor his wife. Mechabda yoter megufo, honor her even more than himself. Sorry? Put his link in my bio. That's very expensive. Okay, fine. Also, Refuah Shlema, the Al Shom Zafutuneh, and Chaim Rafael Ben Frida, Be'ezrat Hashem, continued health for Chana Batzema Fega, and as well for Usher Ben Shendel Mendel, Be'ezrat Hashem, hoping that you get home very, very soon. Learning for this week is dedicated by the Torah Center founder, Soli and Pauline Asa. Loving Mary Lou Nishmat, Soli's father, for Shiloshim Cham Yosef Ben Hamitzchak V'Najla. As well, there was one more from yesterday. See if I can find it. No, I don't see it here. All right. If we find it later, I'll mention it in the shiur. There was one more dedication from yesterday that I said I would redo today. Okay, let's begin. So we have a very interesting pasuk. The pasuk says as follows: Lefetach chatat rovetz. Lefetach chatat rovetz. At the opening doth sin crouch. Or if you're reading one of those old school Bibles, probably croucheth. Okay? Now, this idea that sin crouches by the petach, by the opening, is one that is described in the Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin. The Gemara relates how there was once a question that was asked by Antoninus to Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. Now, this is one of the most shocking chavruta arrangements ever. Right? Two guys learning together. Who are they? Not like a Syrian guy and a Persian guy, not like an Ashkenaz guy and a Moroccan. The Nasi, the leader of the Jewish people, and the Roman emperor. Unbelievable. Best of friends. Now, here's a fascinating tidbit. So we have recorded questions that Antoninus asked Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. And one of the questions that he asked was, he said, at what point does a child get a yetzer hara? When did they get a yetzer hara? We know yetzer hatov, when does a child get? When they become bar or bat mitzvah, part of the bar or bat mitzvah package, okay? When did I get the yetzer hara? Says Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, he says to in this conversation, the answer comes out, Lefetach chatat rovetz. as soon as he's born. Because right there at the entrance, so to speak, at his entrance to the world, is the yetzer hara. Now, I want to share with you an amazing, amazing insight, and that's our jumping off point for today. Rav Meir Chadash, who was the mashgiach, said over in the name of the altar from Slabodka. He said, Al Chachamim tell us that a fetus in its mother's womb does not yet have yetzer hara. So when we say that the yetzer hara comes right at the beginning, it's only right after the baby is born. Please only answer amen if you're listening to this live. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol nihya b'baro. Now, how does the Gemara know that? How do Chachamim know that? Because says the Gemara, if the yetzer hara would be inside of the baby in the mother's stomach, haya meva'et v'yotzeh, he would kick until he would leave the womb. That's the Gemara says. Now, this gives us some questions. I don't know, can anyone think of a question? One more time. The Gemara is proving that there's no yetzer hara in the womb, because if there was a yetzer hara in the womb, then the baby would kick its way out of the womb. Huh? Excellent. We have recorded that Esav Harasha kicked his way out of the womb. So what do you see? Obviously, there is the yetzer hara in the womb, at least for Esav. I would counter that with the other thing that we learned from Chazak. At what point does a child get his yetzer hatov? What I say to you just now? Bar mitzvah. But we know that when she passed a house of Torah study, Yaakov was trying to kick and get out. So the same way Yaakov was kicking already early, even though he doesn't have a yetzer hatov, Esav is kicking early, even though he doesn't have a yetzer hara. There was something that was innately built into their physical nature, into their bones, their sinews, their muscles, so to speak. They had muscle memory of positive influence and negative influence already from the beginning. So they are yotzim and aklal. They are the exception to the rule. But for everybody else, says the Gemara, you know that they don't have a yetzer hara because if they had a yetzer hara, they would kick till they got out of the womb. So the question that the Alter from Slabodka is really posing is, he says, really? That's what the yetzer hara would make you do? No? When I think of the yetzer hara, I'm like, something, I'm glad I don't have a yetzer hara. Because if I was ever in a room, I would be kicking in the room to get out. Like, I don't think of first thing on agenda, womb leaving. I don't think that's very high on the list of things. So what does Chachamim mean when they're telling us this? And the answer says, the Alter from Slabodka says, is shocking. He says as follows. He says, the nature of the yetzer hara is to have a person run away from Gan Eden. A baby in a mother's stomach, eating whenever it wants, has no problem breathing, no problem going to the bathroom, literally protected by its mother, fed by her nutrients. Unbelievable. Like hooked up to, like I always joke, Ubar Eats. That's a joke. It's a niche joke right there. You have to know that Ubar means a baby fetus, but not everybody does. All right. Point is, that Ubar Eats that the baby is attached to is always within delivery range. Always. By the way, also no heartburn for the baby. He can eat Mexican, fantastic. He's good to go. Chipotle, obviously the Jewish version. Right? It's Chipotle. She only is the one that gets it. A lot of rabbi jokes today. Understand, right? No problem. The baby has no problem. Ideal. By the way, let me make it worse. Gemara says that when a child is in its mother's womb, they have a learning session with the malach. They're learning the entire Torah with the angel. It's able to see from one side of the world to the other. Well, it's an ideal situation. Why would the yetzer hara leave? Why would the person want to leave? Answers the Alta from Slabodka. The power of the yetzer hara is to make Gan Eden feel like Gehinom. And to make Gehinom look like Gan Eden. You have so many people, thinking to themselves, I'm dating, I have so many options. Why should I settle with this one? I could get someone better. They have something perfect right in front of them. You have people who are in marriages. They want to leave marriages. Later on, what happens? They realize it's actually not so easy to find someone. And a lot of the problems that you had with your first wife, you have with your second wife. Psst. Could be you, Doc. Said the Halaga Rev Bugs Bunny. Yeah. Could be you, Doc. My friends, that is the koach of the yetzer hara. Can I prove this to you? The Jews in the desert, where are they? Surrounded by clouds of glory. Unbelievable. What's their food? Manna from heaven. What does it taste like? Whatever you want. I think it was since that time that Jewish mothers learned that in order to, they had to pick up the slack from Hashem. They made 6 dinners for each one of the children, had another dinner at the same time. That's from the manna. Heavy pressure. Right? Manna. Be'er Miyam, following you everywhere you went. Pillar of cloud. Unbelievable. And what are the Jews saying?
Let's go back to Egypt.
Again and again and again. Let's go back to Egypt. What's Egypt? Miami Beach? Oh, we remember in Egypt we were eating whatever we were eating. Yeah, but there was a guy beating you to death. Also, they were throwing your children in a river. So let's have a conversation again about squashes and watermelon. It's unbelievable. But that is the power of the yetzer hara. His power is that he makes you feel trapped. So the ubar is an ideal situation. The Jews are in an ideal situation. And the yetzer hara convinces them that their Gan Eden is Gehinom. And by the way, the Gehinom, that's Gan Eden. It's wild. Why am I sharing this with you? I'm sharing this with you because I feel that there's something very beautiful that happens when a person starts to recognize the yetzer hara's game plan. So, let me share with you this. I don't know if anyone here is a Giants fan. Yeah, we have one Giants fan here. Giantetic. All you have to do for any Giants fan to know what I'm talking about is this. What is this? DeVito. Tommy DeVito. Who's Tommy DeVito? Guy who comes up. Giants are in the worst situation, and that's not the yetzer hara talking. And we're 0-1,000. And Tommy DeVito comes in. Tommy Cutlets comes in and wins a game. And then he wins another game. And then he wins another game. And everyone's obsessed with Tommy. And then he falls off a cliff. Not literally. He can't win. Now, do you know why Tommy can't win after 3 games? Do you know why these quarterbacks come out of college and they play 1 game, 2 games in the NFL, they do really well, and by game number 3, they can't play anymore? What happened? Huh? Nope. Huh?
They figure them out.
How do they figure them out?
The place.
Now we have videotape. So I don't know what Tommy DeVito's going to do, especially, in fact, the less professional they are, the harder they are to figure out. There's no rhyme or reason. He's doing whatever he wants. But the more I have videotape on the quarterback, I know exactly which way he's going to go when the pocket collapses. I know exactly who he wants to throw to every time when he's under pressure. I know when he wants to run and when he doesn't want to run. So you know what I do? I open up a pocket that looks like he could run, and then I send a 500-pound linebacker to crunch him. You know, I know that I know that I could predict his every move because I have 1, 2, 3 games. That's all it takes. They figure you out. My friends, we have thousands of years of videotape of the yetzer hara. And one of the easiest things you could do, if you ever want to try and beat the yetzer hara, is know thine enemy. Know thine enemy. Understand him. The Alter from Slabodka over here is telling us, he's giving us a gift. He's saying, when you think the grass is greener over there, that's the yetzer hara's move. He doesn't have so many moves. Once you figure him out, you know exactly what he's telling you, and you know when it's hogwash. Because you read the play. Now understand this. We go back to the line that started this all. The line that the Gemara brings it from. When does a person have the yetzer hara come into him? Lefetach hatat rovetz. At the opening, as soon as he's born, sin is waiting, crouching, ready to pounce on him. I think that there's a hidden meaning now that we could learn into the Gemara. Lefetach hatat rovetz is not telling you where the yetzer hara is hiding. It's telling you that his secret is, the way to see him, the videotape, is when he shows you an opening to escape your Gan Eden. You have a great relationship. Your ego is telling you to blow up the whole relationship. You have Gan Eden. What are you doing? How many times are we picking a fight with our wife or our husband? Everything's perfect. We're getting along so well. What's going to be the outcome of that fight? Nothing. So now I said it. How do I feel? I feel good for 1 second because I said it, and now what? Now I'm living in the aftermath. Adam Arishon shows us, teaches us, that a person could literally be in Gan Eden. And the yetzer hara could figure out a way to get you to feel like your yetzer hara, your Gan Eden, is not the Garden of Eden, it's prison. And he can make prison look like it's the Garden of Eden. When we are engaging in fights, when we are not satisfied with what we've got, so instead of finding what's joyous and happy and fulfilling about our life, we look and find only the things that are terrible about our life. Now, I want to share something with you. Just something I noticed a little while ago. It is a fascinating thing. Next time you're standing in front of a screen door, or you're at a window that has a screen on it, I want you to try the following trick. I want you to take your camera on your phone or whatever you've got. If you've got a camera not on your phone, it should also work. And just take a picture of the screen. What will you see? A bunch of lines going this way, a bunch of lines going that way. What's fascinating is, take your camera and now zoom on something in the distance through the screen. What happens to those lines? They disappear. Effectively, what looks like bars, what looks like a prison, when you're focusing on the bars, disappears from you completely when your focus changes on what's outside, what's off in the distance. If you feel imprisoned by your marriage, then your focus is on the bars. If you feel imprisoned by being a dad or a mom, locked down by the fact that you have to do pickups and drop-offs in school, it's so hard. I have to go to this show and that PTA. Guys, this is a safe space. I will allow parents in this space to agree that they hate most of their children's shows. No one will judge you. You waited 4 hours to see your kid whisper his line, not even into the mic. And now you have it on videotape with no audio. Amazingly, you've heard them say that line on the top of their lungs repeatedly for the last 3 months in your house. And the one time that it mattered, your kid went, and that was the only part they got. And now that's why you ask the teacher next year, could my child be the tree? I feel like he has strong tree energy. My son kind of feel like at some point in his life, Yeshu was a tree as a child. Had the movement, whatever. No? Didn't have? He did have, maybe he did, who knows? My friends, I want to ask, while you're annoyed, while you're upset, while you're picking up, while the child made on the thing and now the diaper is dirty, even got on your clothes, you feel trapped. How did this become my life? I'm such a glamorous person. You know how many people are paying $30,000, $40,000, $100,000 to have a baby? Who cry and pray and visit every rabbi and go to the kotel, go through hormonal roller coasters, even have the baby you're kvetching about. They would pay anything to have the poop on their shirt. Where's your focus? Is your focus in the bars of now? You know, when you're making compromises in a marriage, yes, it locks you in. You don't have all the options. Sometimes you have to eat somewhere that you don't want to eat. Sometimes you have to go somewhere you don't want to go. Sometimes you have to stay longer, right, than you want to stay. It's going to take her longer to get ready. I once saw something brilliant. Every husband who gets upset because their wife said they'd be ready in 5 minutes should remember that he told his wife the game will be over in 5 minutes. I like that one. In the moment, a person is focusing on the restrictive nature of it. But take your focus And look at the distance. At a marriage that was built on those compromises, on a relationship that was built on those investments, what does it provide? The time comes where you don't even think about those things anymore. I can promise you one thing. I'm 47 years old. I'm older than some of you, younger than some of you. I'm somewhere in the middle of the age range of 0 and 120. When I think of my kids and how blessed I am to have every one of them, I don't think about any of the diapers I changed. Some of you are thinking, because you didn't change any diapers. I did. I just don't change the very early ones. Can't handle that. That is not natural. Is this child an alien? What is happening right over here? We need to return him to the hospital. But from after, you think we complain about those things? I don't even remember. You don't even remember them. As they grow up, as they bring you nachat, as they develop, as they become the amazing adults that my kids have become, that I'm sure your kids have become. None of that's there. So when you feel yourself feeling like you want to run away from anything, just remember, oh, I watched the videotape. I know his move. The yetzer hara always rolls left. And when you blew up your marriage, and now you have no bars, you also have no marriage. You also have to now figure out who's getting the kids on which. You also have to spend all the money on legal fees in the divorce proceedings. You also have to. And the yetzer hara is sitting there counting his money. How that gets paid on commission. Understand, my friends. Understand, my friends, that if that is the nature of the yetzer hara, that move just repeats itself over and over and over and over and over again. So, if you find yourself thinking about the bars, find a way to fix your point of view into the future. See what this compromise is giving you, how it will enhance the relationship later on, in what way will it make a better tomorrow. If, as an example, you're looking in the future, you shouldn't be noticing the bars at all. And Hashem should bless us, Be'ezat Hashem, to cast our eye on that in that way. I'll end with this. Okay? Our rabbis tell us, Adam Arishon ate from the tree of knowledge. But here's the worst part of it all. Had Adam Arishon lasted until that night, God would have given them from the tree of knowledge that night. So just imagine that half the time, the thing that you're craving, so you're ruining something, is something that you would have had anyway, just in a little bit more time. When I first took this job, roughly 7 years ago, I remember where every single week, the foundation wanted to look over the bulletin. I remember we had to ask them every question. And if something happened, we got a phone call, what's going on? Not interfering, but managing. I never fought with them, ever. And when they saw that I was doing the job that they wanted me to do, they stopped calling. They stopped checking. Because they know that this guy does the things that we want him to do. He's doing the minyanim, he's doing the classes, he's doing the thing. He understands the difference between A, B, and C. He knows what our preferences are on certain issues. He's not going to try to do this, that, or the other, because after a time, now imagine, I'd have spent that first year fighting the bars. I would have been in prison forever. But looking through them, you got to a place where there are no bars anymore. Trust has to be earned. And in the beginning, it's hard to have someone asking you those questions. Where are you going to be? What time? Could you let me know? I don't have to let you know. But you know what happens eventually? After they know, trust is built. And once trust is built, nobody never asks you the questions again. That is the nature of the yetzer game. And the bitterest pill is that he takes something away that if you just would have played it out long enough, you would have had it anyway. Baruch Adonai Olam. Amen. Rabbi Chananya ben Akasha omer.